Y'all like Mpreg? I talked about Claude and Byleth in my last anime crush video and how madly in love I am with them, and I am currently 50 fanfiction tabs deep. So now you get to hear me yap about tropes and tags and stuff. These are taken randomly from what I'm currently reading, so there's like no real criteria. Some aren't even that common, I just wanted to talk about the fic I read. Can I start by saying Slowburn is the best kind of romance and I will not accept arguments? I love the build-up, the trials they overcome to forge their love, defying death and fate and misunderstandings. And then what? They get married and I have to read about them doing dishes together? I tend to drop fics once the characters get together because I don't care about their domestic troubles. Getting together is the end goal, and I am but a Pavlovian mongrel conditioned to keep pressing that next chapter button just for those crumbs of romance. But there's such a thing as too slow. I need their feelings to naturally progress at the same pace as the plot. You can't give me a slow burn with not a whiff of romance until the end where they hold hands or something. Slow burn, that's hardly an ember. Following up on that, established relationships kind of stress me out. I don't know if this makes any sense, but I feel like during the relationship buildup, characters have everything to gain. But once they fall in love, now it's like they have everything to lose? It isn't being in love kind of precarious? Now you're working through each other's bad habits and insecurities that either weren't noticeable or weren't as annoying before dating. And there's totally an audience for that, and it is not me. Fake relationships are fine. Okay, so the formula is something like this, right? Oh no, I've caught feelings, but this relationship isn't real, and he doesn't even like me like that anyway. No beta, we die like insert character here. This has nothing to do with the fic content, I just find these tags incredibly funny. Some of them are foul. I love when the inserted character doesn't even appear in the fic, they're just catching strays. Fluff kind of depends on context. If the source material is also very sweet and slice of lifey, then honestly, I don't know why I'd go out of my way to read more fluff. But if it's like war and angst and everyone is dead, then yeah, some fluff is pretty comforting. Contrary to fluff, though, I enjoy all suffering equally, regardless of how much pain these characters have already gone through. Yes, my beloved children, cry harder, bleed more. There is no light at the end of the tunnel for any of you. What else? I love alternate universe. My number one favorite is definitely Hogwarts AU. I need my ethically sourced wizarding fix. Fanfiction is how you reclaim your childhood without supporting the original series. I do like modern AUs too, where applicable. I hate to say this, but coffee shop AUs have done a number on my poor heart. I once read a Shuake Last of Us AU that literally changed my life. Like, sit on the floor and blankly stare at a wall for hours, feeling purposeless and hollow after finishing it, kind of life changing. Soulmate AUs are usually a miss for me, though. The premise is fun, if not a little convoluted. Like, Soulmate AU, where you have a locket with your soulmate's picture that only opens under certain conditions. Gee, that sure is a lot of work. I think authors can have a lot of fun with these though, so I'm happy for them. Okay, crossovers. So this is the only tag here that isn't on my reading list because I fervently refuse to touch it, but I'm mentioning it because it's rubbing shoulders with AUs. So I like AUs where the cast is dropped into the setting of another franchise, but you can't mix the casts together. And it might not even be the tag itself, but rather a limitation of my imagination. I'm not into shows with real actors. All the fanfic I read is for animated characters, but the issue is I cannot envision characters in my head looking like anything but their original art styles. So when you mix two shows with different styles in my head, they just can't exist together. They can't. It's unimmersive and bizarre. Infidelity is straight to F tier, garbage. Murder, manipulation, A-okay, but cheating, that's where I draw the line. Loyalty above all else. That's why I like yanderes, yeah? I know I said that I like action and dark content, but okay, it wasn't a blanket statement of like all lighthearted romance sucks. I just can't read like too many fluff fics in a row. One needs variety, right? So I really like napping fics. I don't know why, I just like thinking about a warm afternoon napping in the sun or during a thunderstorm. Could I be napping for real instead of reading about other people napping? Yeah, but I don't like napping. I feel terrible afterward no matter what timer I set. So, reading about the comfort it gives other people is like feeding some unfulfilled fantasy I have. If we're talking about favorite romance tropes, enemies to lovers is at the very tippy top. I'm sure a lot of people only like it on the condition that the two characters are on equal footing, but I don't care. Power imbalances and all, I eat it up. It can range from friendly rivalry to kind of disturbing if one of them is more obviously the victim. And I lean either way. But usually it's pretty lighthearted. School or work rivalries are so S tier. Any slice of life fluff fic that normally would fly under my radar is an auto click if I see this tag. This may seem unbelievable with how many dead doves I eat, but I have a really hard time with medical stuff, even though I'm a healthcare worker. I don't know. I don't like body horror. The workers are creepy, the sterile environments are creepy. It exploits the natural feeling of vulnerability we have when going to the doctor, and just the image of sickness is unsettling beyond the point of entertainment for me. And that's exactly why I read it. Discomfort is such a wonderfully powerful emotion. I don't have anything to say about this tag. I just want to mention that this is from a VeggieTales fic. Oh, you know what trope I really like? Hanahaki? A perfect vessel for unrequited love. Anyway, this one kills me in the best way, especially when the other person never ends up returning their feelings. Or even better, if it's a Hanahaki AU and they only realize their feelings after the other person has passed or had their flower removed. Oh, you love to see it. Can we talk pining for a moment? I love the internal conflict, the deep and wistful yearning, and then whatever mental gymnastics they pull to convince themselves it can never be, constantly thinking about each other, and when they give their subtle hints, the other person who reasonably doesn't catch on to their feelings or are in a state of pining themselves gives an oblivious answer that convinces the other they aren't interested. Oh, I'm so giddy. I've read one cannibalism fic ever, and it was gross, as expected, but the way it was structured, it only occurs at the very, very end. The entire rest of the fic is so normal, sweet, romantic even, but you read the tags, right? Or at least I hope you read the tags. You know the cannibalism is here somewhere, but not how or when it'll happen. So the fluffy moments felt ominous and unsettling, and I loved it. That's my favorite kind of horror. Not the in your face blood and guts, but the feeling that something is off, you just don't know what. Oh my gosh, you know the Amnesia fix where two people who were definitely not in a relationship, or even better, they were enemies, but one of them was pining and uses the amnesia as a chance to fix it? So they just lie and say, yeah, we were a couple. And there's a few routes this can go down once our amnesiac gets their memories back. Crash out of the century, how dare you manipulate me like this? A straightforward, we were never dating, why are you doing this? Because I've always liked you. Or they were also pining, but think they're only being loved because they lost their memories for some reason. Don't ask me why. So they continue pretending that they still have amnesia while they continue drowning in their guilt and feelings of inadequacy. Oh, what a mess. What a disaster. I am enraptured. Have you heard of Guideverse? This one's almost like a variance of Soulmate AU because it always ends up like a compatibility thing. If you don't know, it's like you have espers who are people with special powers, and said powers cause them to mentally break down. And then you have guides who stabilize espers and prevent them from going berserk. Anyway, of all the soulmate-esque tropes, this one is my favorite. There's so much potential for obsession and intense codependency because guides are quite literally an Esper's lifeline. Stalking, kidnapping, possessive behavior, you've got all the hard hitters here. Wonderful. But fluff is fine too. I'm weirdly obsessed with how authors describe the feeling of being guided, like soothing, comforting, and warm. I love Reincarnation. Fix it fix, except characters don't get to forget the suffering of their original timeline. It's one of my favorite media tropes in general, but it's one where you have to sort through mountains of trash to find real treasure, and those treasures absolutely hit different. Hey, can I be real for a moment? Omegaverse is kinda gross. I like to think that I'm good at suspending disbelief if it's a trope I enjoy, but there's some accessory tags baked into Omegaverse that I very much do not enjoy. I almost said Omegas first. Elephant first, pregnancy. Putting it lightly, not my thing. But then there's the issue of mpreg, more specifically, the organs. So, like, tell me, Where does the baby come out from? And okay, C-section, sure, but what if they just don't have the option? There's two outcomes here, and I don't like either of them. I mean, I'll still read it, but so the natural progression from mpreg is obviously to holding hands. Next thing you know, it'll be exposed ankles. Aw, look at him, so cute. This and the first kiss tag are a top tier combo. I'm witnessing two idiots in love. Speaking of idiots in love, look at these two. That's what they are. Hot's heart goes doki doki. You guys make my heart go doki doki. I am sick. I am ill.